So yeah, but I mean, it's one of those things where you know the information that you have, a lot of guys need, and women as well. But it's about time. A lot of people are going into doing this, and it's right on time. So
Right. Before the
it's needed. So Miss Mitchell, thank you for coming to Street Recovery. I'm your host, Crenshaw. This one right here, we have out of Charlotte, North Carolina, correct?
yes, sir.
Um,
Yes, sir.
you know, Farrah Mitchell. Thanks for coming on. It's a little
Thank you for
delay.
having me.
Yeah, it's a little delay, but we'll work with it. You know, um, let's get to it. You help everyone get their records expunged uh, down there and all over the country. Put it like that. Uh,
Yes.
you,
Nationwide.
nationwide. Um, a lot of this stuff that's happened in the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. Let's just say 30 years. Uh, a lot of people need this because everyone needs that second chance, to get these things going on. So, explain to us a little bit about what you do.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I assist people with second chances that want to get like grants or get affordable housing, new jobs. So I help them get their records expunged. I work with habitual felons, so I do have that specialty. I have completed school at Seton Hall. However, I have not passed the bar. So I am basically just a solo law clerk. So I do want to put that as a disclaimer. Um, so yeah, basically what I need, my people to do, even if you have multiple felonies, there's new laws now. The Penal Code 1109, that's for like your gang crimes. I know a lot of us have these gang enhancements. They've changed the laws now starting in January.
Hmm.
Also, there's like the Racial Justice Act. That's another federal law because some people did not get a fair chance. Far as the prosecutor, we've had prosecutors that make you take plea deals based upon your juvenile and your younger records, older records. But they said, well, you had two felonies before, so you're going to have to take this based on the sentencing guidelines. So now we're able to go back in, even if you're currently incarcerated, and get you either resentenced or exonerated. Um, so yeah, if you had the jury was not your peers, it was all white jury from the
Yeah.
mountain somewhere. You didn't get a fair jury trial. You're able to go back in now and say, hey, I need to get this expunged based upon that law. And the Racial Equality Act, they're saying that people just basically were forced to take pleas just because they say, hey, this is the minimum maximum time you could do.
Hmm.
However, now you can just get that expunged because you were forced. You know what I mean, to take something that you really didn't have to, based because they were looking at your past record.
A lot of these programs that you are helping everyone with, uh, it's one of those things where you wouldn't really know it unless you're a felon. You see how much you're being denied. Um,
Right.
so many of us through these criminal backgrounds miss out on so much. When really all we had to do is contact somebody like you. Explain how much how explain how difficult it is for a lot of people going through this process of a second chance. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone know, but I don't think they really understand.
Well, now that the new laws are here, it's not a difficult process. They've made it so they understand that the mass incarceration and the disparity against black and brown people. So they've made it where it is able to be things are able to be expunged. You can have multiple felonies up to 6 or 7, they still can be
Oh
expunged,
wow.
or even drop down to a lower charge. Like, I'm sorry,
The- that
yeah, or
right
even like a
there.
misdemeanor charge.
Yeah,
They
that
can
right
say,
there.
okay, well,
We never knew.
oh yes. And again, now that California has made even more changes, for example, like with the murder charge, that's the SB 1437. So let's say you and I, Crenshaw, we went into the store with intent on just robbing, and we had a getaway driver. Okay, so our getaway driver, we'll call him Lincoln. All right.
Hmm.
So during the time, I end up shooting the store clerk. Right. So we all got charged with murder. Now, with the new laws with California, the SB 1437, the getaway driver and the person because you did not do the shooting, now can get that sentence resentenced and overturned. That's the new
Wow.
law. So now all the states are mimicking it. Yeah. All the states are mimicking. Some of the best states right now that are assisting with these expungements are Minnesota, Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's Minnesota. Yeah,
Hmm.
Minnesota, California, North Carolina. The governor, we worked on that ourselves, sending a lot of certified mail. That's our own money we were sending out to get people, that were currently in trial
Hmm.
to get their motions submitted, and habeas corpus is writ of habeas corpus is submitted. So currently, people that were um, in trial in court, we were submitting different documents to the governor, and finally he just signed a reform like maybe 2 weeks ago, and he pardoned a month ago. He pardoned 5 different women from prison. So they see that it's just
Wow.
a big business, and they see that it's hurting people from advancing, and now with the inflation so high, a bag of groceries is 2 bags of groceries is $50, so they're trying to give more opportunity for those who've had, past convictions. Not only that, but some of these convictions are so old. Once you have a felony, you can't get a gun. Now with these new rights, you can actually get a gun permit. I'm sorry, your rights back for a gun.
That's
Yes.
information that we need, because especially the black and brown community, because there's over half of us with these criminal backgrounds, and as me and you talked before, and you stated there's a lot of guys and females that can't get housing due to this.
Right. Right.
Can you explain what is it and why is it they can't get the housing?
Well, they won't get approved. They say that they're a risk to public safety. And it doesn't matter what felony it is. It could be something like identity theft, white collar crime. You're still not able to get approved for an apartment, approved for a condo.
You know, we go on, and I'm pretty sure you know a lot of people dealing with this and went through this criminal, career. What you're in the South, okay?
Mhm.
Up here in the North, I don't know how different it is when it comes to the criminal justice with all of this stuff. But when the I'm going to say the grades of felonies, when you get these felonies, they prevent you from getting the loan. I'm going to say the grants, is it, or the grant?
Grants, yes. Even loans too. They can look at your record and say, you know what, you're not a credible client. You can have an 850 credit score, but depending on your crime, they can deny you for funding.
Whoa.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Um, this wow. I heard today, this morning, a brother that we know of. He's an older gentleman and had a business, and on the news this morning they stated how he's getting ready to go back and do some time because he got back in the game and doing these kind of things. Uh,
Wow.
Maybe he's close to 60 and he already had these kind of issues.
Right.
I'm not sure the whole situation, but what type of challenges is he going to have as an older man coming out with maybe his second felony of a high a high crime case.
Uh, Hopefully he has a good retirement plan because if he comes out, he's going to at least do what 5 to 10, based upon what you're saying.
Hmm.
Um, Hopefully he can get like I don't know. Hopefully he has some good skills. I would say while he's in there, he needs to get as much computer skills or like carpentry skills.
Hmm.
But it's gonna be it's all the discretion of the employer when he comes home.
We're faced with these things daily. Our young folks, okay, they're back and forth in and out of the joint at a high rate, more than a lot of us ever seen. You
Right?
dealing with a lot of youngsters as well, correct?
Yes, absolutely,
What
absolutely.
what is it that a lot of us can do for our youngsters that are going in and out and wants to just leave the criminal life behind? How do we get them to adjust and move forward and leave all that behind?
Well, first we need to open more like community programs, as working as a collaboration, um, and get these nonprofits because they have the funding for juvenile recidivism, so they don't want these kids to go back and forth into JDD, and they're willing to give it to you. But we, as a culture, we have to work together and say, hey, let's start a nonprofit. Let's do something like sports programs or play, African arts and play, and have somewhere for these kids to go. The problem is they don't have anywhere to go, so of course they're getting them back into trouble. And I feel like, and with these gangs, we have to be in the streets as a community. Remember back in the day, we used to have the community service police, like
Yes,
it'd be
yes,
our own neighbor. We
yes.
don't have that anymore. We don't have that anymore. Their role models now are rappers.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's the problem that we're faced with. A lot of us, our kids, we want our kids to experience the hip hop that you and I have experienced growing up. But the hip hop is taking a turn to
Right.
just a destruction rate that's so high. It's sometimes no coming back from it when you're committed to doing this
Because
rapping.
it takes half a second to make a bad decision, a lifelong decision.
Yes,
You
yes,
can shoot somebody on accident in the leg, hit a major artery. Now you got a murder charge.
yes.
You know
It,
what I mean? So that's where we got to work on our self control, and that's why I'm doing this too. Because look on the female side, this teenage pregnancy is out of control.
yes,
These mother babies having babies. Why? Because the fathers are incarcerated. That's why I'm trying to do my best to get people home and at least let everybody know the laws that are out there when they can do it from inside their cells, so they can just try to get home, try to get early release, and be a father. We are the black female is the most fatherless, um, culture
yes.
out here.
Yes, it is. It is.
If
And
if you look at the prison system, I'm sorry.
I thought we were uh, the generation of the '90s. I thought we were doing a really good job at that because a lot of guys didn't have their dads in the '80s and '70s. Here it is, the '90s come.
Right.
I see a lot of guys with their kids, taking care of their kids, and doing the fatherly duties that they supposed to be doing. Uh, Here it is, come 2000. You kind of start seeing the dip. Kids going to school, mom only. Not saying that dad isn't there, but versus the '90s where you knew dad was he was there. He may have been out hustling or doing what he do, but he was there steering that kid in the right direction.
Right.
Early 2000s as well. But you know, after you just start to see a switch in things. I asked one of my guests this question with a lot of this stuff basically has to fall back to our music. We're in denial about it. Yes, I understand why, but our music is so powerful. It sends a message that that's so powerful. It would make you turn into a evil person, a very evil person. From the new hip hop, which is the female rappers,
Hmm.
you see a shift. You go from let's say MC Light in the '80s to Lil Kim in the '90s.
Hmm.
Now you have Sexy Red and what do they call it? The slut rap or whatever they call
That's
it.
what it's called
Well, I
now.
mean, that's one of the terms that they say, but it's like wow. Never
Yeah.
would I have thought
No filter.
none whatsoever. Never would I have thought a a black woman would be doing this. Outside of Little Kim and Trina, but I can't put them all in the same group, but it is the same group. But you kind of see, and I said it before, you kind of see the image of the black woman that was here. You kind of see it just taking a toll, coming down and down, and it's one of the saddest things, that I'm witnessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we witnessed the brothers doing this dumb stuff, but the black woman is rated so high with us. She's the protector, she's the mother, she's everything. And you just start to see this coming down, and you see more and more guys, kids disrespecting black women these days.
Yeah.
And where else is it coming from?
Gotta be the music.
I don't really
Yeah, I
see.
mean, you see now men assaulting women, young
Yes,
boys assaulting women and
yes,
recording it like it's the thing to do. Like we didn't do that in our generation
no.
at all.
Well, let me ask you this:
It's
from our generation, and we speak of our generation highly, '80s, '90s. We seen a lot of violence, the crack, the coke, the gangs. I'ma say we don't take the responsibility as we should, but we do bear the responsibility. Why is it that a lot of us won't go and repair what we destroyed?
half of us is incarcerated. I have a family right now that I have a client. He's incarcerated. His father is incarcerated at a nearby prison, and his grandfather is incarcerated with him. So half of it is the male structure.
So that's
I'm thinking
three
at
generations.
three generations. Oh yeah. I'm thinking that the only way we're gonna be able to come back is if we like maybe change our religion and become Muslim because they're unified
Let's
and
get
they're
into that.
structured.
I was speaking to one of my guests. He's a Christian hip hop artist, and I asked him, "What is the difference between the Nation of Islam doing the things that they're doing and being successful at changing these brothers, in the prison system, versus the Baptist community? Why isn't why aren't we, you know, do on the same page as the Nation of Islam and Muslims?" And
Because
go ahead.
it's all about a corporation for them. You know, they get they're tax free.
Hmm.
They don't really provide you anything but a great white hope. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And just keep praying. It's like a program. Just keep praying. Something's gonna change. Change is coming. You know, soon, but it's not a real, I don't see a real assistance in, even like, okay, perfect example. I got one for you. Now, this lady at this church, she had a prison reform, like synopsis, right, of
Hmm.
12 different people. So I'm like, oh, well, this is what I do. I'm trying to, I got some people right now that are just sitting in county jail. Let's not talk about prison. County jail that we're trying to get out. They've been in county jail 5 years, 4 or 5 years, haven't been properly charged, haven't been sent to DOC. So help me out here. All I need you guys to do is make phone calls to the administration and send emails. Do you know I never got a response? So why are y'all in here talking about prison for? Just to look at a presentation? That's not doing nothing. I need you to be hands on in the streets.
Yes. Over and over again, much as a lot of us love the black church, we grew up in the black church, but you start to see the black church as well come down, 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 down. And they wonder why they don't have the young folks in there. One, me and one of the hip hop artists, Christian hip hop artists, you have to change this so that there's some type of interest in the church for the youngsters to come to church. For instance, the whole Christian hip hop, that needs to be into church. It needs to be into that. There's a lot of these Christian hip hop artists that are doing well and have a huge fan base. So a lot of these fans that are fans of Christian hip hop don't want to listen to a lot of the gangster rap and things like that anymore. So they're switching over to that. And man, some of the concerts that I've seen on YouTube with these Christian artists, they're killing it, man. They're
Right.
killing it. And I
Right.
just don't understand why the church isn't going into that lane. If you want to survive, you need the youth. So
Right.
it's, I don't know. More, I'm going to have more conversations about this with people that come on, and just general conversation with people that's out in the street and everything. But it's something that I never wrap my hand. Why aren't they taking the Nation of Islam's page and trying to reform people coming out of the in this prison system and coming out? It,
And it's not even a support whatsoever. They have the means. They don't even pay taxes. They're 501c, their corporation.
mhm,
Why aren't you having? Why are there so many tent cities? We should not have this much homelessness in our cities. Y'all can build homes
yeah.
and build apartment buildings and house people. That's a lot of reason. I know somebody now because of homelessness, living in and out of hotels, is why they became doing larceny and end up going to jail. Now they're sitting in prison trying to survive. Like,
Over and over again, we witness these things. Over and over again, there's always these situations where it's the same issue. Somebody's
yeah,
hungry, they want somewhere to stay, and things of that sort. Let's get back to
they
the
turn
key.
to drugs because they don't. It's too much
Yes.
for them to handle. And from drugs equal crime. So it just goes hand in hand. And I do want to say one more thing while I'm thinking about it.
Go ahead.
As far as in Ohio, I really want to have your followers and your constituents call your senators before election day
Hmm.
is here in November and get some of these laws changed. Because even with the expungements in Franklin County, I had one guy on child support. Okay,
Hmm.
Franklin County, these were rears. They
Hmm.
had this man still with a felony because of rears. We got the rears removed, and then from there we were trying to get an expungement. And they gave this man the rigmarole. I'm talking about weeks and weeks and weeks after he paid to get this expungement. They would just send it back. Oh, the case number is wrong. And then when it does it, it deters you. If you don't have somebody like me, going back and forth with it, it deters you from continuing the process. Now you're still stuck with this, and you still have to pay all this money. So you guys got your money back for the arrears, and the child is grown. I help people with child support too. If you have arrears, I
Hmm.
help you with that because I feel if the child is grown, it's making a disadvantage for you currently now.
Now that right there, much needed. We all criminals and right side of the law, black men have those issues with that child support arrears, and it's a sticky situation.
Right.
I can give you my my experience. Always paid. Sometimes, when you fall off your feet, you miss a few months, but you catch back up, and
Right.
you fall behind, and you start you know getting it together. So here it is at the end of the support. I get a letter stating that I overpaid by $5,000.
Oh wow.
Now I said, well, okay, you know us. Oh, I got her. I got to get this money back. I'm thinking I'm getting a nice check. Here it is. I contact them. Say, hey, what's going on? You guys took this. Where that bread at? Oh no, you have to get that from her. No. But you guys did this, not her. Well, we
Right.
have nothing to do with that. So, of course, I'm not going to go and,
Right.
I mean, so, you have to, sometimes you got to take these things as a loss. But hey, that's $5,000, you know, we
That you
could
could have
use
used.
to,
Right.
yeah, to do some things with.
I know a man paying now. His one of his children is 29, the other one is 33. He's paying $600 a month. That is a
Mm.
disadvantage. But he has a
Mm-hmm.
17-year-old child that he's full custody custodial parent of. How is that helping that child? The one that's currently needs the funds in the home. He has to work night and day. So because he's working two jobs, he's not able to spend time with his son. What happens to that? It's a whole domino effect. What happens is now he can't spend time with his son. His son is out and about doing whatever.
Yep.
He has no one to monitor him and to mentor him.
It's one of those things where if you go to get public housing, they want to see your your paycheck stubs and seeing what your bills are and things like that before you get approved for Section 8 and whatever it is. Shouldn't
Right.
shouldn't they do the same thing with child support to see if you can afford to pay all of this? Because, like you say, there's some situations where, as guys, we have our kids, and true enough, we make other kids or whatever. But hey, we still have to take care of these. And you guys aren't in the system, aren't understanding our struggle with this. And it's nothing that's being done about this. No matter how many men organization and child support groups we have, they will not listen to the guys. Over and over again, I hear these stories, and a lot of the brothers, they end up can't pay that stuff back, and they get their license suspended, which is crippling them from going to work. Now they got to get back and forth to work, so they still drive. Now you get pulled over. Guess what? You get your car
Get your license.
towed. You get your license. Now, what do now? You lose your job because you can't get to work. And over again, these kind of things happen. A lot of
Right.
guys
Right.
go back to jail because they can't pay the child support due to these this crutch. It's one hell of a mess this country has made. I don't know. I don't know where we go with this one. With that.
But here's the answer. We talked about the problem. Let's talk about the
Hmm.
solution. We have to go out. No, there is, Mr. Crenshaw. We
Hmm.
have to go out. We have to contact our senators and tell them, listen,
Yes.
this law is affecting this and this and this.
Hmm.
Your expungement is affecting this and this and this. Violent crime should be expunged. They're expunging other states. And we have to vote. Those that can vote, go out and vote. But this is why I'm trying to help people expunge their records now, because so they can go out and vote in November. You get what I mean? You
Yes.
can have these rights back, your gun rights back, your voting rights back. They're important.
Why is it that
This is an important election.
very important? Why is it that a lot of us, especially black male, we don't believe in the power of the vote anymore.
Well, we all, I don't know. We know that the vote is what it is, but we want to get the best. I mean, look, they stole the election. That's why I
Yeah,
don't believe.
yeah.
It's a waste of my time going down there. And now they're trying to get the poor lady Fanny, the black DA. I said, now, that don't have nothing to do with what he did.
Yeah,
Isn't that terrible?
it's a
But
whole mess.
it is. We just got to pray for our country. But as us as a unit, I need my black brothers to step up more for these children. That's if y'all don't leave nothing, if I don't leave nothing with y'all today, do that. Work with other organizations, get together, start having different places for these youth to go. Because these are people gonna take care of us.
Hmm. Yeah, and
You know?
that's the thing right there. I My family is involved with coaching youth football for the last 50 years in the
Right.
heart of the projects. I tell a story all the time on here when I talk to some of my guests. It, it's one of those things where you have to be consistent. You can't just do 1 or 2 years and expect to make a change. You have to stay with it, no matter how challenging it is. I seen my dad have a situation where we were playing with, you know, just some unsafe football equipment, and my old man told his guy he was going to take the football equipment, go down to City Hall while they're having their meetings during the and throw it on the floor in front of the press and look what y'all got these kids playing in. And this is a football league. Football is everything in Ohio, especially Cleveland.
Hmm.
And this
Oh
is
yeah.
a league that's been around for at least the last 60, 70 years.
Wow.
Um, and this was back in the early 90s, I should say. So when my father threatened to do that, changes were made. They got together with the housing authority, and everything's history now. They had top of the line everything, all the way to the point where the mayor and my father and one of the directors of the housing authority came together and got a $1.5 million football stadium built in the heart of the projects. Nowhere.
Congratulations.
This is going on. This is 6, 7 years ago. But if you stick with it, no matter how it gets, that showed me when you stick with something, you can get things done, especially, something like that. And all this come through just teaching football. Something simple as teaching football. So imagine
Right.
if you teaching a kid how to make some money for itself legally. There's a one of the guys, MD Lewis. He teaches a program in the recreation center where kids make shirts and mugs and stuff, and he teaches them to do that to provide for themselves.
Nice.
And he also has he's with the organization BFO, Building Freedom Ohio, where they're doing the same as you doing. Helping the brothers and sisters out, just coming into this world, out the joint, and they're trying to
Yeah.
get some things changed as well. And
Good.
more and more of these kind of people we need. That's why when you contacted, I said, yeah, it's no doubt we got to have this kind of connection with all groups, like this. But I'm long
It's gonna
winded
change
on that.
people's lives, though. Can you imagine them coming back to you and this can be done in 30 days? Can you
Hmm.
imagine them come back to me in 3 months? Miss Mitchell, I just got into school because you know what? Even with a felony, you can't even get food stamps.
Yeah, that's
Let's
crazy.
go there.
Yeah.
It's just so many. You can't do this, can't do that. It's so many barriers for you. I just want to see these results in like 3 and 4 months. Like, hey, Miss Mitchell, I'm doing this now. I'm doing that. I've got to get married. I just want to see the process, the progress from the process.
Well, I can guarantee you, doing something like that to change somebody's life, you know, it's definitely going to be one of those emotional moments. It's knowing what you've been through, and one person come and say, "Well, here, let's do this, let's change this," and you get that sponge or whatever. Now you may be making 40, 50, $60,000 a year, and you like, what the hell? All due to
Right.
this woman changing my life and doing this for me, and that right there is a hell of a road to recovery when you get that done.
Main thing is just starting your own business. Like I know so many people have this desire, but they're not going to be able to get the funding.
Hmm.
Why should someone else get the funding? Because things your living conditions caused you to make bad decisions,
Hmm.
and that's what most of this is about. If you really think about it,
Yes, yes, yes.
we don't have any planes to bring drugs here,
No,
do we?
no, we don't. No, we don't. We have no that. Let's go into that. Uh, you and I've seen these things, the effects of the heroin epidemic from the 1960s. We've seen everything go into the 70s, heroin epidemic, and change over to the coke and pills and all of that kind of thing. Moving into the 80s, you know what happened there. I asked my guests, I asked every last one of my guests, because I'm very curious about this and I want to understand what I'm about to say to you. Do you think this drug epidemic in Black America is the worst genocide ever on this planet?
Absolutely, absolutely.
You know, we can we can never compare the genocide here to Africa, but when you have decades, everything's by design. We know it. Even going into what you're doing, it's so easy to get it done and get back on your feet. But if you don't have the information, how can you? So uh, let's go into this. Your program.
Okay.
Tell me a little more. Let's okay. Let's say a situation. Young lady committed some crimes, got her kids took away. What they class is it class A felony or class one felony?
Okay.
How can you get her back together with her situation such as this?
Well, really, when it comes, I do custody, but I don't do family law. She would
Hmm.
have to get like a family law attorney,
Hmm.
but I can look at the case and see what they have against her, and we can try to break it down. But those can be a sticky situation with that.
Hmm.
That's another scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah, I try to stay away from that. I try to really just get the men, well, and women, but I'm really trying to do the crime scenario because
that's why I
that's
asked you.
the
Uh,
head of the household.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
why
the
I
head of the
asked you
household.
because it's more and more we seeing the kids being took because of the crimes that the moms commit, and
Right,
sometimes the family's not able to take care of another
right,
3, 4, 5 kids.
right.
But we're seeing this more and more each day.
I try to just look at what they have and try to give them the best, advice
Hmm.
and laws that can support it. But that can go so many different ways because it's whatever they say at that point. You get
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. As always, it's
It's
always
still
them against
active.
you.
It's see what I do is it's already have taken place.
Hmm.
But when it's active, it can go so many ways. And I just don't like the one want to be responsible. I just will say this is the best way I can tell you. But use your lawyer as your puppet. But I try to stay away from that period because it can have so much responsibility on you when you
Yeah,
don't know how it's going to turn out.
yeah.
You don't know how it's going to turn out.
You got to be a special person to be in that that field. Dealing with family service. So, but now let's get to this.
Hmm.
How long does it take for a felon to get everything expunged and back
It's a 30
rolling,
day
right?
process. Ohio, we might say 45 because again, I told you Franklin County was one, and Chahia County,
Cuyahoga, that's
Chahaga
Cleveland.
County, they try to give you the runaround. So I'll say 45 days in Ohio. Anywhere else, 30 days or less. I have in North Carolina, I've seen the guys go down to the clerk of court, had a judge sign off same day after we know that it's in the system. So I say 2 weeks North Carolina and Georgia 2 weeks because you can stand on business down there at the courthouse once everything is filed. Because what I use is let me tell you that what I use is federal laws. I use state constitutional laws,
Hmm.
and I ask for a case disclosure, ex parte case disclosure non-appearance.
Hmm.
So what I have in there, and then I use these new laws as well. Is 6 of those new penal code laws. So when I put everything in order, it's like stand on business. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
It doesn't matter. Let's go. You know what I mean? So you can go to the clerk, pay your fee. With my document, I include go to the clerk, pay your fee, and a judge sign off.
More and more of these programs aren't heard of. We hear the big programs that's on the radio shows, as you stated, come over to the church but we don't hear the people, the everyday people like you and the BFO movement up here in Ohio. We don't really get to hear about you guys because a lot of uh, a lot of people aren't talking about this stuff. And this is how I know, we could be in a better position if people will go and get their records expunged. Because there's a
Absolutely.
lot of brilliant dudes out here that got a record that just need it off their record.
Right.
They need that put behind so they can move on. A lot of brilliant
And, that,
dudes.
and that's why I try to stay affordable. I keep my expenses. If it's not, more than six, I do 175. More than six, I do
Mm,
325.
mm,
But I'm quick. I have an assistant that I work with, so
mm.
we get it done. Um, and we'll fight to the end. I've gone to the I've gone to the state and spoken to judges about this. Like, hey, we got this done, but we need this done. And if we have to, we can do a civil suit against the state
Mm.
because these are federal laws. These are what are in place. They have to abide.
Bye. What do you have a passion with this? Where did that come from?
Of course. Okay, because my brothers, I had some brothers that were locked up Pennsylvania,
Yeah,
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
one of the
and they had them
hardest prison systems in the country.
huh?
One of the hardest
Yeah,
prison systems in the country.
absolutely. Absolutely. And they were there for a whole year, no bond or nothing. My mother paid $10,000. Still, the lawyer didn't help her out, So I started learning. This is how I got into it. I was 19 years old when I first started doing criminal law.
Hmm.
I learned on MySpace. I started talking to Jewish attorneys,
Hmm.
um, getting their emotions. I was like, well, I'm a law student. Can you give me their emotions? I get their emotions. I started learning the UCC laws, the constitutional laws, um, state Supreme Court laws, just different appellate court laws to
Yeah.
figure out what's their claim and how to disseminate their claim.
Hmm.
So once I learned those, I just start putting motions together. Motions to dismiss evidence. You got to do the evidence, the testimony, and then motion to dismiss. Period. First, you want to do to suppress the evidence, and then dismiss the case. Um, yeah, that's how I started. And they walked out. They walked out after a whole year, no bond, no nothing. They walked out of prison,
Wow.
jail, whatever you want to call it.
Well,
So
hey, they owe you then.
you would think. Look,
But
you would think, but
well, they got the
yeah.
plug, they got the hookup. So,
But
but
the laws never change. And long as you know how to find what you need, you can make things happen. And I make them. I ask them, "Where's this evidence?" But look, I want to just go a little bit further because I
go
got to
ahead.
get off real quick. I
Yes.
want my people to know how to deal with these police because you got to remember, you got the Brady law. So if you get pulled over, comply with the police, give them what they need. If you feel like you've been done wrong, you have what they have, the Brady law, and basically they can take them off of oath on their statements, and they can be reprimanded. You can even go after them civilly for their pension.
Mm.
So Don't be fighting with these cops out here. And second, don't be smoking in the car and drinking in the car. Have you two drinks? I mean, a drink, have a glass of water. A drink, have a glass of water. Then you go out and drive. If you feel like you a little bit nice, just go ahead and catch your Uber. Come get your car the next day.
Well said. Well
But
said.
there's smoking and driving. We got to stop this because that gives you the probable cause. Now we can't even use Fourth Amendment on you. Now they can do whatever they want to do. Search and seizure. It's all legal. Also, remember with these body cams, if you are currently going to court, make them submit the body cams because a lot of that will help your case out. That's what they're here for.
My sister, I had you on for a reason as well. Look
Okay,
here.
one more thing. Those that do feel like, I need to be with my guns or whatever, have it registered in your wife's name. You can keep it as a felon in your glove compartment, locked or in the trunk locked, long as the wife is in the car. You'll still be, you're able to have it and you're still protecting yourself and don't have to, be so accustomed to firearm by felony.
Valuable information. Well, I know you got to run, but before you leave, how can the people get in touch with you?
It's best to go to my Instagram. It's dividend DIV like Victor IDEN and then Queen. I'm very responsive on my Instagram. You can also click my link on my bio, and you can actually schedule an appointment, free consultation. That way I can schedule myself. I have a toddler, so I can schedule myself a little bit, more frequently. Between 3 and 5 is when I like my appointments, and I speak to people after 5. Don't forget, I also do exonerations. I have plenty of motions for those that are trying to get off with these new laws, these new sentencing laws. So I do help with that as well. I'm nationwide. And
You're just doing it all.
Yeah. And don't forget, if you have child support reason, your child is 18. I want to see birth certificate. If your child is 18, I'll help you get off your rears.
Miss Mitchell, thank you very much. Much needed information.
I say child support and pop out. Y'all better hit me in the DM.
You better hit her. Miss Mitchell, thank you. Thank you. It's a street recovery, y'all. We out of here.